Robin.
You're listening to Opie and Anthony. Opie and Anthony. On the Virus. Sirius XM.
I got something really funny to play for everybody because we're going to go soon.
Your take on this tragedy in Arizona, this gunman shoot.
What? This is happy stuff.
Oh, fuck. We got to end with this.
We don't have to.
Bill,
Bill Maher.
fucking Maher on Leno.
We did tease it earlier.
Bill fuck Dick Maher.
You don't like the Bill Maher?
I hate this.
Is he funny, though, when he says it? Is he doing it in a joke?
He's trying to be always.
You think he's funny, Jimmy?
He's trying to be.
I do. And there's been
him.
comedians who gave me a lot of flack for sticking up for Maher. And
Sticking up for what? His comedy?
just him in general. But again, I've heard a lot of bad things about Bill. My experiences with him have been good. And I don't know examples of what he's done that were so awful, other than the fact that people say that he's been snotty or shitty. Like, you guys had a bad experience with him.
He's a
Really
douchebag.
My times with him have been, my experiences have been pleasant, and I do think he's a funny comic. The only problem I have with a comedian, I never care what their politics are. Like, I don't care if they're liberal, as long as they're being funny while they say it, or trying to be. It's when comics, like, on stage get preachy, and that's where it bothers me.
You know, here's the problem I have with Bill fuck cunt Maher.
That's not his name.
That's not his name.
Oh,
Yes.
no, it is to me. Oh, no, it is to me.
Is that on his birth certificate?
Wouldn't it be great if it was? I heard he has a huge cock.
Does he?
Yeah, I've heard that. He
What
talks
a
like a guy with a huge cock.
He is a huge cock. Fuck him. Fuck him. Here's what it is. He talks, and just like a liberal, he won't fucking listen to anything anyone has to say. And
You think the
that's
conservatives really listen, though?
I don't know. They seem to, like, on the conservative shows, they do seem to have more liberals on to talk about their side of it. The liberals will never have a real conservative on. It's very rare you see that, because they just want to preach their bullshit with this holier than thou attitude. And that's what Bill Maher does. Bill Maher won't say, this is my opinion. Like, I'm pretty adamant and passionate about what I say, but I say this is my opinion. Bill Maher says it like this is the truth and the only way things are. Fuck you.
I'm going back
Papa's dick.
Back and forth on Twitter with a guy. Not negatively, but he's
when
like,
you
he doesn't
hooking up.
like the fact that I'm saying that liberals censor things. And he's like, well, give me some example. But it's like, if you want to play a game of semantics, you can. We all know that, like, when you go to do colleges, if you're doing certain racial material, they'll ask you not to do it. There's been colleges that wanted you to sign stuff. And when you start to see standards and practices at the networks, the things they want you to stay off of, because they're all young college, or a lot of them young college students, are race, domestic violence, just these things everybody cares about. Not that conservatives want to yell nigger and beat women. I don't mean that.
Right.
But the things that are typically associated with that, man, we all know that.
Yeah.
It's like, and people play semantics games. What do you mean? And don't act like people, like, when there's a conservative president making a speech, the Democrats will sit and the Republicans will stand and clap. And then when Bill Clinton makes a speech, like, a State of the Union, all the Republicans sit and the Democrats sit.
Yeah.
So don't act like you don't understand. Come on, you do know. The conservatives were the ones who fucking made the tenfold radio fines. Conservatives are the ones that were sexually uptight and made a big deal about Janet Jackson. That was all conservative ideology and mentality. Race, things of that nature, those are fucking liberal.
Yeah, the liberals.
But just don't act like you don't know it. Don't play that semantics game. You know.
We all fucking
Sorry, I'm
know.
babbling. I'm a little tired. Apologize.
No,
it's all good.
you're not at all.
Do you want this
Making a
audio?
good
You
point.
want
Yeah,
us-
let me hear this shit.
Your take on this tragedy in Arizona, this gunman shooting. I mean, you always have an interesting perspective on these things.
Well, I mean, first of all, we're going to have to hear from the NRA a lot about how this shouldn't stop anything that they want to do. First of all, the NRA should just change their name to the Assassin's Lobby. Because that's what they are.
Fuck you.
Yeah, you can applaud that.
Fuck your mother in our fucking asshole.
That was kind
You
of funny, though.
Fuck you,
It was
the
funny.
Assassin's
It was
Lobby.
funny.
Really? The only organization in this country that's protecting your Second Amendment freedom, that is keeping the Second Amendment from being wiped off the fucking Constitution by cocksuckers like you, is the NRA. Yeah, they got their faults, abso-fucking-lutely, but they're doing the only job of defending the Second Amendment against people that just want to swipe it right away from you. Fuck you, Bill Maher. I'm sure whenever anyone comes up to Bill Maher and wants to give him shit, there's some big motherfucker with a gun to keep any people away from him. Go fuck yourself and your mother.
What are you, a fucking expert?
Fuck you, Bill Maher. Bill Maher.
Because that's what they are. Yeah, you can applaud that. somebody should applaud that.
Oh, really?
I'm so tired of hearing about the Second Amendment and the Constitution.
Oh,
if you love guns, just admit it like it's a vice. It's like alcohol or drugs or sex addiction. Or gambling. It's just a vice. It's something you like. It's not good for you or anybody else. You just like it. But stop the bull about the Second Amendment and the Constitution. Because nobody needs...
Stop the bullshit.
Nobody needs a gun that fires 31 rounds.
How about it's fun?
That's what this guy had.
How about
Although,
it's fun?
Sarah Palin needed 5 to shoot that moose that was basically on the end of the couch.
Fuck him. He's talking about a constitutional right. Go fuck yourself. He's such an asshole. How about I talk like that about the First Amendment and you shut your fucking mouth? How about I go, hey, no one needs that First Amendment. You know, the one where Bill Maher can go on Jay Leno and mouth off about other amendments. Go fuck yourself. That cunt is a douchebag and I fucking hate him. And he's got no concept of what freedoms in this country are. He gets on his dumb fuck show and talks shit like that all the time. And then he gets on Leno and infects that show with his drivel. Fuck you, Bill Maher. You're a cunt. You're a cunt, Bill Maher.
That was only the
Fuck
first
him.
clip. That's only the first clip.
Yeah.
But it's like
This isn't much big.
just to like lump Palin in. It's like,
He's got to do the same line. Lump Palin in. Talk about guns. You know what? You're absolutely right. A pistol. People say, and people like him, your pistol, we don't need that many rounds in a clip. We don't need pistols because they're just made to kill people. We don't need this type of gun or that type of gun. If it's for hunting, it's that. No, it doesn't say you have the right to hunt. It says you have the right to bear fucking arms. And the thing is, how about a car that everybody should just drive a Prius around? No? Oh, what do you want? You want a fucking nice old GTO that does fucking 160 miles an hour? Why? You don't need that. You know why you have it? Because it's fun, it's sexy, it's exciting, it's something, it's an activity, it's something you do enjoy. Guns, shooting at the range, I do enjoy that. He's right. It's fun. Is it a vice like drugs? Fuck you. Fuck you.
How many guns you have?
A lot. A lot of fucking guns. You know why? I like shooting different types of guns. Sometimes I like seeing what I can do with a 9mm. Sometimes I like backing the target way the fuck up and seeing what I can do with a 50. Sometimes I like taking out an AR-15 and seeing what I can do at mid-range. The FS fucking 2000. See what I can do close up. Different types of scopes. But this idiot, the people that criticize guns the most are people that have never fucking touched them. They're either scared shitless of them, of even touching them, or they just don't know anything about them. Do you think Bill Maher's ever fucking fired a gun? No. That liberal cunt knows nothing about him.
The thing is, people
hate him.
People tend to be very... Like, what bothers me is the rights that people are willing to give up are the things that don't kind of go hand in hand with their own ideology. That's what drives me nuts. Like, Bill Maher's a liberal guy. So, So, to him, Amendment 2 is kind of not that important, and whoever needs it is just a gun nut.
Right.
But again, if you were to take away, like you said, his right to say something, people are just very selective in what they defend and condemn. And it's like, you either agree, you know what I mean? That's what drives me fucking crazy.
People don't realize the way the amendments were written, number one is speech. Number two is fucking right to bear arms, which directly protects number one. You dumb fuck. It is there and written that way on purpose. Number one is freedom of speech and expression. Number two is the right to bear arms so you can protect the first one, you asshole.
Anthony, car chase on Twitter, very confused. So you're a fan of Bill Maher? He's not sure.
Oh, he's not sure?
Yeah, he's not sure.
Yeah, guy's hysterical.
Oh, good. Okay.
Love him.
Here's the second clip from Leno.
There's a much bigger issue, which is the psychology of this country, which loves guns. It's just a very armed country with a lot of crazy people, which is not a great combination.
A lot of crazy people? Hold on. Here's what this fucking idiot is talking about. It is a very armed country, and it's meant to be. The whole basis of the Second Amendment is also to keep the government in check. That's what it was supposed to be. We're an armed populace, and there's a reason for that. Are we going to go up against the American military? No, it's not like that. It wasn't. But the whole gist of the Second Amendment is to have an armed populace for a lot of different things, and it keeps the government and the powers that be in check. And it still does. It absolutely does. We are an armed thing. But for him to say that it's crazy, a bunch of gun nuts, no, there are gun nuts and there are crazy people that own guns. But the majority of law-abiding gun owners are not nuts. They're people that are exercising a fucking right that you have in this country.
The only thing I have a problem with is I'm not saying that any place where they don't want you to have to take a test. I think you should have to show, and this guy did pass it, and that's going to happen. But I think that you should have to show mental stability. And I think
background check is what they have.
All that stuff.
Now, if this guy was unstable and fucking had psycho problems, every time you fill out an application, it asks, on the application, it says, do you have or have you been treated for mental illnesses?
No one will admit that.
But exactly. But the second you don't admit it, you're falsifying your application.
But don't forget, just because you...
Which is illegal, which makes the gun that you then got an illegal weapon.
Well, the stop check has to be that there's a way to check. Because, like, getting onto a plane, if you don't have your ID... They don't say, well, are you an American citizen? Or are you Jim Norton? And I go, yes, and they let me on. I have to prove it by showing an ID. And to purchase a gun, I think that we have the right as other citizens to go, sure, you can have one. But you have to prove to us somehow that you're mentally qualified.
How would they go about proving mental
records to get a gun? There are mental health records.
They do FBI and criminal background
checks.
Does that stuff
come
up?
You.
Oh, it'll come up if you've had a legal run-in because of your mental problems. But how about the person that gets on a plane and then in the middle of the flight tries to open the fucking door?
No, of course.
That's a lunatic.
Absolutely.
So should we now mentally screen everyone that's getting on planes? How about people driving cars that decide they're committing suicide and park on train tracks or run into a crowd of fucking people? They're mentally damaged. Everybody that get a driver's license, should they now have to get a mental fucking background check?
No. But I do.
But why then with a gun?
Because I think guns are different. And I agree with the gun analogy with cars, like as far as them being banned. But I think that we have the right. As a citizen, I want you to be able to own a gun because I trust you. I want Kenny and other people because I think you're competent citizens. And I want you to be able to conceal carry. But I also want to know that anyone that they're giving that permit or that ability to, because I know it's a God-given right, but again, the old joke about it's not muskets anymore.
Yeah.
The Constitution has to be looked at in the mindset of the people that authored it, and also where we are right now. I want people who have guns and who have conceal to carry to have some kind of a mental stability. And I think that if you can get that, you should be able to have them.
It would be very difficult to screen for that. I don't know how you'd go about it. If there was a way...
Make the medical records open, not an additional test.
If there's a way, I would love to. But people also have a right to privacy as to their medical records. What medical records now would have to be
mental
open?
Health.
Mental health.
I don't care if you have AIDS. I don't care. Mental health records. People do have the right to privacy. But does somebody's right to privacy override my right to safety by them getting a gun when they're mentally not qualified?
All right, now here you go about the First Amendment. Freedom of speech. What if somebody has the ability to say something inflammatory that will incite other people to do harmful things? Should now we have to have mental competency to give somebody the right to get up in front of a crowd and speak to a crowd of people in public because they might be mentally unstable and influence other people?
No, because first of all, the exerciser of the right, the person speaking, their mental capacity isn't going to affect what other people do. But there are also...
That's been the argument with this whole thing.
There is also...
Are people influencing other people?
Time, place. You can't yell fire in a movie theater. You cannot incite people to riot. So those things are already in place. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't do that.
I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about inciting a riot.
Right.
I'm talking about influencing people through speech, like Hitler.
Right.
Hitler was great at getting up and influencing people with his speaking. Now, should he have been, in this day and age, screened for his mental health before he is able to get up in front of a crowd and influence people to hate and kill and perform genocide in order to exercise his right, his First Amendment right, if he was in our country? So then why is the Second Amendment falling under this blanket of we need to make sure this person is mentally competent? Now, I understand this, and I agree with you. Don't get me wrong, but I want to know how it's done.
Well, I would say, and again, you shouldn't have to prove mental stability.
And this guy had no background record of mental health problems.
I'm not saying that the people aren't going to fall through the cracks.
And that's what happens.
It's going to happen. But I'm saying that every right does not have to have that. I think the only one that matters is guns. As far as, you should have to, in this day and age, if they can do a mental background check, if nothing comes up and you're crazy anyway, well, that happens. Because like you say, people get on planes and do crazy shit. But if you display some sort of mental illness, they won't let you on a plane. So if you're standing there acting odd, and I mean aggressive, you're not getting on that plane. So there are ways to, I think, check people for mental stability. And if you know what, if nothing comes up in the records, nothing comes up in the records. That's going to happen.
Now, this guy, everyone knew he was crazy.
Right.
A lot of people knew he was crazy. But technically, he hadn't gone for treatment, so no one had any concrete evidence that he was crazy, so he couldn't be denied purchasing a firearm.
It's also like with free speech. Here's an example.
It's tragic, believe me. I'm not saying it's good that this guy got a gun. Believe me, it would have been better he hadn't gotten the gun.
Westboro Church wants to protest in front of these funerals.
Right.
And that's a big free speech issue.
Yeah.
Where's the line? What is appropriate?
They're crazy.
They are. But Arizona enacted some emergency legislation so that they could not disrupt this 9-year-old girl's funeral.
Right.
And I agree with it. And I'm for free speech no matter what you want to say. But I think that if we can't common sense understand what those people are doing when they're yelling "God loves dead fags" in front of if anyone thinks the mindset of the authors of the Constitution was to allow people to taunt the family of a murdered 9-year-old, then I think that you're just playing a game of semantics. I think everybody knows that nobody who made that Constitution, if everybody wants to harp on the Founding Fathers and how great they were, nobody who wrote up that Constitution did so with the intent so that animals who wanted to taunt a dead girl's family would be permitted to stand right there and do it. Anything else, or very few limits. I think that would have been one of the limitations. Even though it's not inciting people to riot, they just didn't see that when they wrote it. Like, they didn't see machine guns when they wrote up the Constitution. They couldn't foresee everything.
I understand, and you can't get a machine gun. It takes all kinds of special licensing.
Yeah.
You got to jump through a lot of hoops to be able to own a machine gun in this country.
Yeah.
It's just, it doesn't happen. The thing is, and getting back to Bill Maher, the way he's talking, calling the NRA, an assassin group.
It's silly.
Is ridiculous. Well, and talking about the Second Amendment like it's some kind of crime.
And it's not an accurate...
Only lunatics are exercising their Second Amendment rights. That's Bill Maher, and that's fucking infuriating and inflammatory and bullshit.
So we shouldn't play any more of these clips then.
I'd love to hear one more.
No, I want to hear a Bill
Sure.
One more.
You're losing your voice, though. You all right?
I know. I'm yelling like a motherfucker.
Hanging in there?
I want to hear what this
Congratulations on the machine gun, by the way.
Idiot has
I forgot to send you a congratulatory card for that.
It's fucking great.
Hallmark's got wonderful cards when it comes to
believe
your
me,
friends
I would
buying
love
machine
to
guns.
own a machine gun, but I can't. I know I can't, and I make do with my semi-automatics.
Real deal.
And somebody also should tell all these people, these NRA types, who think it's great to be armed everywhere. Arizona has one of the loosest gun rules in the country. You can, I think, carry any weapon concealed without a permit. They want every drunk in a bar to be armed in case a fight breaks out.
Right.
And these guys always think that, it's great to have a gun because if some bad stuff goes down, I'll be able to stop the bad guy. This is your fantasy, ass. You would never be able to do that.
Never.
People have to be trained for months and months at a time.
Exactly,
They have to really know what's going on to be able to stop something like that.
Can you stop that for a second? Anybody right now listening to Bill Cunt Maher, go to Armed Citizen. Go to the Armed Citizen website. It's an NRA website. It's just an entire fucking website dedicated to stories of people thwarting crime with legal weapons, with legal guns. And there are so many stories, I can't even fucking tell you. Thousands of stories of people that have stopped crimes in progress, rapes, robberies, murders, home invasions. There's thousands of stories, but you don't see them in the news.
Right, never.
In the Bill fucking Maher cunt liberal news.
You really don't.
They'll never show them. So it's not about fucking action movie hero pulling a gun out after he's carrying it for a week and saving the day from a fantasy, Bill Maher. Fuck you. It's about protection, exercising a Second Amendment right, which you have, which I don't have to explain why I'm exercising my fucking right. I don't have to explain it to you.
You're
but
right.
that's where it is, and that's where it stands. And yes, a lot of crime has been thwarted by legal gun owners.
But do you know that, like, if let's say you were dragged down to jail and they didn't read you your rights, you would be screaming, "What about my rights?" Like,
right.
Nobody would go on Leno or any show and say, you know, these idiots that want their rights read to them. You wouldn't say that.
Right. Oh, these idiots that want their Miranda warning. Oh, Jesus, what an idiot.
They're all just criminals who have something to hide.
Oh,
like,
these
you wouldn't say
idiots that want the right to vote. Oh, what a dummy. What a bunch of shitheads. Fuck you, Bill Cunt.
Stop something like that. If that really happened, they would probably freeze up and shoot the wrong person.
Right.
So let's stop that fantasy also.
Okay.
And also, I think, how about the Democrats reclaiming this issue? This is the problem. I understand that the gun lobby owns the Supreme Court and they own the Republican Party. What's disappointing is that they have cowed the Democratic Party into silence.
It's the right.
There should be one party that sticks up for this issue. Not expecting it from this crowd, but some audience somewhere should stick up for this issue.
See, he's
not getting the big applause, are you, Bill Maher?
That's where, to me, as a comic, it's like, again, I know we all and on the radio is different because we have 4 hours to do.
Yeah.
But like when you're, it's like, you kind of got to be funny with your opinions or try to be.
Yeah, no, the motherfucker is actually sitting there preaching that the Democratic Party should take a hold at eliminating our Second Amendment right. Is that what you're saying, Bill Maher? Because no one could be a hero and pull a gun out and stop a crime or whatever. He's a fucking out of touch shithead.
The right wing loves the go-to rhetoric for them is, wouldn't it be fun to kill the people we disagree with?
What?
You know, they try to put forth this false equivalence.
I shoot paper. Targets because it's fun.
See, really? Then do you read? Have you seen what people have said? Have you seen what Sarah Palin says? You know, she talks about don't retreat, reload.
Pause that real quick, please. Again, and Bill's a smart guy. He knows better. That is, like you said, Ant, those are metaphors. That's not real. Nobody who says don't retreat, reload meant take your guns and aim them at politicians. Nobody thinks that for real. It's like you can't say that honestly. You can't think because again, they like I hate to tell people, but when you're watching TV and the AT&T map is in that commercial, those guys really don't watch football with an AT&T map in front of them.
Right.
It's kind of a metaphor for the coverage of the country. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Nobody thinks that, and it's like all of a sudden they're playing these I hate to keep saying these semantics games, like where they're taking things literally that they know are not meant to be taken literally, but they're doing it selectively. Because again, nobody says, look, football is violent. You cannot encourage in a physical sport men to kill other men, and people are saying, I want the Jets to kill the Colts. We don't need that type of talk. It's nonsense.
Yeah, they're going to kill him.
Why didn't they blame football rhetoric on OJ? OJ murdered his wife. How come they didn't blame very tough, what they got to do here is get in this zone and they got to blow past these guys and they got to... It's just,
destroy, kill them.
It's selective, man. Comedians use brutal lingo. We talk like that. How'd you do? Oh, I shit the bed. I died. I killed. Oh, I murdered. How did he do? Oh, he fucking bombed. How come nobody ever blames suicide bombings on comics using terminology? You cannot be selective if you're going to be self-righteous about semantics.
Yeah.
You know better.
Well, apparently Bill Maher doesn't.
And Anybody saying that knows
know
better.
better.
And you know what? Here I am yelling about it not being funny, but I'm not blaming behavior on people's rhetoric. I'm not blaming liberals because people go out and do shit. I don't blame left-wing people or Noam Chomsky or these people because people do shit. I don't blame anybody except the scumbag who did it.
Yeah, the scumbag nut who did it. And Bill Maher is portraying people that exercise their Second Amendment right as nuts. That's what he's doing right here in his dumb speech.
Is it like a pull toy that's broken every 5 minutes? She says this. Michelle Bachmann said she wants Minnesotans armed and dangerous. Alan West, a new congressman, said he wants his opponent to be afraid to leave the House. Left-wingers don't talk that way. And
Obama didn't just say that?
Left-wingers, even if they do sometimes make a gun analogy or something, their audience isn't hysterical. They're already talking
pause right there, please.
to people who are hysterical and are irrational and are highly armed to begin with.
Right there is in the justification of why if we say it, it's okay.
Right.
And if you say it, it's not.
What a
Well, our
pompous-
audiences don't behave that way. That
Right.
really is. And again, I like Bill, but that's complete intellectual snobbery and elitism.
Pompous.
Come on, Bill.
We're better than that. Look, when we say it, we know, and our audience isn't crazy. But when a conservative or the NRA or gun owners hear it or say it, they're nuts. Really, Bill? Really?
This corny belief that you're smarter than conservatives, or that all conservatives are just a bunch of dummies. It's like, enough already. It's old, and it's not accurate.
And the hard right and the hard left are both fucking dummies.
They're all twats.
And he is way on the hard left, and I fucking cannot stand listening to him. He's an embarrassment. He's an embarrassment.
Let's stop there. It's getting a little ugly.
Do you want one more?
One more clip.
One more clip.
Oh, dude.
Come on.
Newt Gingrich, and by the way, among the right-wing douchebags I hate him the mostest.
Oh, wow. What year is this?
Yeah.
What has Newt done in fucking
he says
10
things.
years?
He said the Obama administration is as much a threat to us as were the Nazis and the Soviet Union.
All right.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Now, it's not just ridiculous, but when you characterize the opposition, the political opposition is not just the opposition, but the enemy.
Like when they called
Soviet
Bush a
Union and the
Nazi?
Nazis.
Hitler.
Like when they were always calling Bush Hitler and a
putting
Nazi?
the Hitler mustache on signs as they protested him everywhere he went. Is that what you're talking about?
And that's
Bill?
a fair point. Call Bush Hitler. I don't care.
Yeah, who cares?
But then don't cry and be victimized when somebody says it about your guy.
Right. Fuck this.
Who are our enemies. Of course, you're going to have borderline people who go and take this over the line.
Too bad.
So stop telling me that the left and the right are both crazy. Yes, there are crazies on the left.
Yeah.
But they're not the same. They're not gun crazy.
Right,
They're
they're
not violent
smarter
crazy.
crazy.
Who goes to gun shows? Who is for the war in Iraq? Who's part of militias?
Yeah.
You know, when you hear the phrase armed compound in a secluded rural area, what is that? A bunch of Democrats? Is that Dennis Kucinich out there?
I don't think so.
Sorry you asked?
No, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry.
Fuck.
Think Leno was uncomfortable?
No, I mean, he probably knew what Bill was going to say.
He knew he was going to go in that direction, obviously.
Oh, fucking Bill Maher. What an asshole. What a fucking asshole. Just give up more of your rights.
Yeah, but how about the crime that's committed with guns? Are you telling me, like, all the shootings in Brownsville and East New York and East L.A. by those gangs, you're going to tell me that's all Republicans?
Those gangs are all Republicans.
All
they're
conservatives, right?
Crazy.
Yep, he's right
Yeah.
about the militias. Those are not Democrats. The majority of them are probably not Democrats.
Right.
And he's right, a lot of them are not. But again, a lot of these guys in these gangs, you're going to tell me that they're filled with Republicans? Don't be victimized when it goes both ways. Intellectual elitism is boring.
And militias aren't shooting each other up to get their more territory and turf. Gangs, who for the most part are minorities and do not look at themselves as Republicans or conservatives, are killing each other left and right with illegal weapons.
And how about the way Janet Reno handled, where was it in Texas with David Koresh?
Yeah, Waco.
By the way, I agreed with her.
That's a great one.
I agreed with her. That's how you handle that.
But
fucking wipe those crazies out. I mean, that's a shitty way to put it. But a lot of people came down on how could she do that? And she was not a Republican.
Yeah, that was great. Fucking Bill Maher. What a zero. What a fucking zilch. I have never, ever listened to one word from him and agreed or even thought he was speaking intellectually in any way, shape, or form.
It's just people who you know are going to have certain opinions have them.
Yeah, and you know
There's
what he's going to
There's never
right.
a balance or a curveball.
No surprise.
Ever.
The Virus. Sirius XM. This is the Opie and Anthony Show.